What's going on, ladies, gentlemen, boys, and girls? You know what time it is. Episode 74 in the mix, big baby. We got our special guest, Hello Moon. Before we get started, you know what time it is. If you got yourself an iPhone and or an Android, go over to the Play Store and or the App Store. Do yourself a favor and stay up to date with the latest cryptocurrencies and NFTs. Without further ado, I am your host, Gaddis TV. What's going on, y'all? And let's get to it.
Hey, hold on. I think you good?
Yep. Every time, honestly, it gets to every time. I was like, what's going on? They're like, no, I can't hear you. But no, we are live and direct. So what's going on, big dog? First off, I want to say thank you for coming on, taking some time out of your kind of evening now, and just sharing a little bit about yourself and a little bit about Hello Moon. So I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. Great to meet you. Great to meet everyone who's on the line. So my name is Walker Guffey. I am the founder and CEO of Hello Moon. Hello Moon is a universal index of Solana. So we have visibility into effectively everything that's ever happened, both in real time and historically.
Nice. We'll get more in depth into that because I'm sure some of the tech people will be like, oh shit, and some of the other people that aren't too tech will be like, oh shit, you know what I mean? So I guess before that, a lot of people probably will know, I guess, you know, who you are, kind of been around the space. For the people that don't, quick background on, I guess, what were you doing, granted, but before, I guess, crypto, how'd you get introduced into crypto in general?
Sure.
Just kind of basics like that.
Yeah, absolutely. So before crypto, I spent 2 years doing investment banking and then 8 years doing enterprise software private equity. So basically kind of studying software markets and really kind of building software businesses. In terms of getting introduced to crypto, as part of my work in private equity, I'd been kind of basically laser focused on software architecture, understanding, what that means for how businesses do over time. And basically what happened is I sort of started to view crypto rather than being kind of a vehicle for financial speculation, which is all good and fine. But I realized that kind of rather than just being a vehicle for financial speculation, it actually was a newer and kind of more efficient form of computing. And more importantly, a paradigm shift in terms of how computing is done generally. And so as soon as I understood that was kind of what was driving adoption, I basically couldn't look away.
Nice. I've looked a little bit into the Hello Moon, kind of like I told you beforehand. I'm always working, so I got a little bit of time in there. But I guess with the data, the numbers, is that something you've always been interested in? I guess being in finance in general, or is it something you really didn't think you were going to be going to in this stuff, or are numbers have they always been your thing?
Yeah, I mean, so I've always been interested in how numbers and data really kind of overlap with business. So when I was doing private equity and we were looking at acquiring a software business, I was focused on things like new customer ads per sales rep, looking at how long it took individual sales reps to become efficient. Looking at every sort of metric that I could to understand how these businesses would scale when we started to grow them. And so it was a very natural extension to apply that to Solana kind of in the way that we have. But what I would say is that very very shortly after launching Hello Moon, we realized that the application of the technology that we were building was actually far broader than just understanding, financial metrics. And so kind of, 2 or 3 weeks in, we realized like, wow, this actually has pretty broad applicability to almost every project in Solana, in one way or another. And so that was honestly a lot more exciting than just thinking about it from an investment perspective.
Nice. With Hello Moon, how many people are involved? Is it just you? Do you have a team of members? How many people are there? And when did you, or I guess y'all, the team, first think of it? Like a month ago, 2 months ago? How was that?
Yeah, so I guess in terms of team size, honestly, it's hard to keep track. So for reference, actually, I hired 3 people yesterday. So I think we're today at something like 14 or 15 people. A few of those were contractors. But yeah, we're a pretty intense, computer science shop. So we feel like we're solving, a pretty hard computer science problem that hasn't been solved yet. And so we've got a lot of pretty serious people who have pretty serious backgrounds.
Nice. With I guess with the computer problems and stuff like that, for either people that have been in Solana for a minute or not, I guess what type of problems did y'all I guess see, and like when did you see them? What was that point where you're like, yo, people need to see X, Y, and Z? When did that start?
Yeah, so really kind of right out of the gates. And so if you look at doing data analytics on a layer one like Solana relative to an EVM chain, the complexity is significantly greater. And so that was something that kind of right out of the gates when we were thinking about launching, we kind of had to contend with. So on one hand, it's harder to do than if we were working with an EVM chain. But on the other hand, nobody really had done it. And there was, and I think we also kind of pretty broadly shared the view that thinking about wanting to avoid legacy architecture, legacy software, some of these older layer ones felt a little bit legacy, especially relative to Solana. So no, I would say it was an appeal rather than something that pushed us away.
With the Solana, have you all always, I guess, been interested in Solana, or I guess when in general did y'all I guess know about Solana? Has it always been in there? Is Solana your first go to, or buddy in school or whatnot? It's like, hey, heard about BTC? How and why Solana?
Yeah, well, so I guess with respect to my first introduction to crypto, it's kind of a funny story. So back in 2015, I was living in San Francisco, and I had this neighbor who had just launched a Bitcoin exchange called Coinbase. And so, this was actually Brian Armstrong kind of before he was, the man who he is today. And so I remember, listening to him and thinking, wow, like, that's a lot of people buying and selling drugs on the Silk Road. And so that, that kind of colored my view of crypto for a few years, basically as which I think in hindsight was invalid and kind of the result of just not being fully informed. But really, I would say that it was Solana that caught my attention initially, and that sort of made me feel like crypto was rather than just interesting and novel and things like that, but basically kind of an unstoppable force. And so if you look at what Solana can do relative to any other form of computing, it unlocks a lot of very interesting things.
Nice. Do you ever think about that time when you're looking back, like, damn, bro, like why didn't I just think about it in hindsight, or how? I mean, on that one, was it? And I'm just curious on that. Was it one of those just, hey man, Bitcoin's gonna be the next thing, or like you said, you just thought the good old Silk Road at that time? What was that change in? You know what I mean? For someone who might honestly think like you were thinking, like, yo, man, it's just a whole bunch of druggies, X, Y, and Z bullshit going on. What was that turning point? Was it reading like one of the white papers, or just going more in depth? What was that?
Actually, to be honest, it was I was watching a YouTube video with Fred Ursum, and so actually the other founder of Coinbase, who's kind of taken a different track, and it was within, I don't know, call it a minute and a half of learning about it. It was like a light switch. And, from that point forward, kind of everything I read, really was confirming, I guess you could say.
No, for sure. With, I guess with the Hello Moon, honestly, where did that come from? Because this is probably be random, and if people probably make fun of me on this one, but the first thing I thought of was Sailor Moon, the old school, I guess, anime one. And the only anime I really actually watched is like good old Dragon Ball Z. But where did the name come from? How did y'all get that?
Yeah, so actually that's a funny story as well. So I think back in October, when we'd already started building the technology, we knew that we were going to need a Twitter handle, things like that. And so what we did is we created a bunch of different burner Twitter accounts and tweeted more or less the same things. and we figured that kind of whichever got the most traction we'd go with. And so Hello Moon got the most traction. In terms of initial appeal, I think, the idea was, it's like Hello Moon, pathway to the mooning, and so, um, intuitively it made sense, and then also it got actually substantially more traction than the next best name.
I gotta ask, what was that next best name? It's coming.
was Witch's Brew. We also thought about Data Laundry, a bunch of other things.
I like it. I'm on the y'all's pages of right now. I don't know if you can see it. I guess in essence, what are we looking at on here? And a whole bunch of stats. Got the Soul NFTs and I guess the Soul DeFi. We'll talk about those just because everything else is grayed out. So I'm assuming you got stuff coming on. But
Yeah.
what are you? I guess more in depth on why did y'all make it? What do you want people to see on this? Like what?
Yeah, so actually, I can't see your screen, so I can't speak directly to what you're looking at. But maybe I'll pull up my screen and kind of. I guess it's at a high level the way we. Oh, actually, I sort of can.
If you want, unless you got some crazy stuff on the desktop, you can share your screen on that. I'm just on the HelloMoon.io.
Yeah, no, I can see yours. Yeah, so basically the way that we're thinking about laying out HelloMoon.io is basically you start out with the highest level abstraction, so Solana. And from there, you can click through to NFTs, DeFi. Soon you'll be able to click into, I guess from there you can click into individual collections, individual protocols, individual tokens. And, Alpha Leak, you'll soon be able to go even deeper. So, over the next week or two or three, you'll be able to click through to individual accounts, individual contracts, etc.
Like with signing up, because I signed up beforehand, or maybe not signed up, but logged in, signed in. I guess you got to have the email, stuff like that. Is there a particular reason on that stuff, or why is that?
Yeah, basically the engineering hurdle was lower. And so right now we're 100% focused on trying to build out the best product that we can, and to basically allocate every ounce of engineering capacity towards doing that. And so the person who was building our login flow had done that before, and so that's what we went with. Soon you'll be able to log in with your wallet. We may make it so you don't have to log in at all. We're still kind of experimenting.
No, for sure. And I guess that's how I was asking, because I know the space, but like I told you before, I'm still a noob overall. So I'm like, I got all the other things. It's like, you could have my email address all you want, you know what I mean? But with I guess the data part of it, do y'all get this stuff from like the APIs? I guess they don't want to let you know all your secrets because I don't want someone else just be like, hey, we got Hello Moon Jr. and do your thing there. But how was that information gathered? Is it updated every 24 hours, or how was that?
Yeah, so we're pulling the data directly from the blockchain, so we're not calling an API or anything to that effect. In terms of how often it's updated on our back end, I think it's something like every minute, every 30 seconds, maybe even tighter than that. I think it flows through to the website every 30 minutes.
Heard that. Setting something that's up like this is probably a dumb question on my end. Is it literally input in every little, hey, you got ThugBirdz, you got this, you got this, or someone you hired, you got to do it manually, or like how in the back end do y'all kind of set some of it up? You know what I mean?
So no, we're not doing any of this manually. This is all kind of this is every all stuff that we're pulling directly from directly from the chain and kind of filtering what we display on the website.
Heard that. I was about to say someone's doing a hell of a lot of work. With the Hello Moon and everything like that. The first time I kind of saw y'all was I forgot exactly whose post it was, but y'all were at the Hacker House. Is that the first time you were at the Hacker House? How was that experience as a person? You know what I mean, just going, and then how's the experience as an overall company going?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So we've been to a ton of Solana events. So we were at Lisbon, and a bunch of others. First Hacker House experience though was Los Angeles, and so actually I flew out to LA. I think Thursday evening, or landed Thursday evening. The website HelloMoon.io launched on that morning, so Friday morning, which I think was the 14th, so a little over 2 weeks ago. The Hacker House experience I thought was amazing. Met a ton of super interesting people, some of whom I saw active on the in this channel. So hi to everybody. No, it was a great experience as a person, and then I think as a company as well. I mean, we met basically a ton of people who are super relevant to what we're doing, and also just a ton of people who are working on interesting things, whether technologically or culturally. I think both of which are kind of equally interesting to us.
Nice. Um, with with the it's gonna be kind of a broad question. I'll be honest with that one. But with the usage, how I guess how is the ideal? When y'all are talking to your meetings, you're like, listen, we want the user experience to be like this. We want people to use this. I guess what are the overall not strong points of Hello Moon, but like as you just as a person, if you're using the site, you want to be looking at different things. How would you use it?
Yeah, I mean, so basically, I mean, ThugBirdz. If you keep us on ThugBirdz, the way that I would do it is I would, first of all, look at if I'm looking at an NFT, the first thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to look at the ownership overlap. So if you scroll down a little bit, and that basically gives you a sense for what's the community like. And so for some NFTs, depending on how involved you are, you can get a sense for, wow, this project, is able to get really great white lists for its community, things like that. I think when you look at ThugBirdz, what you see is that, I mean, it's just an incredibly relevant. Uh, the holders of ThugBirdz are incredibly relevant. So a huge proportion of them are owners of Solana Monkey Business, Dejan Ape Academy, Pesky Penguins, Aurori. These are many of the top projects on Solana. If you look at hold duration, which is to your right and on the top, you'll see that most ThugBirdz owners haven't sold. So they bought it and held on to it, which is, I think, always a good sign.
Shout
I
out
think
Thugos. Caca, caca.
right, but it indicates that people like the community. It indicates that people aren't buying it, with the intention of flipping it. I would guess that's probably a positive indicator for supply demand balance. If you're ever if you're selling, it's not probably not bad. Um, yeah, and then I guess the other thing is just if you scroll down a little bit more and look at the whales, the top holders of ThugBirdz, basically what you see is that the ownership is pretty broadly distributed. So it's not as though there's a single entity who might not have the same goals as the community who could sell everything at once and tank the price. It's pretty broad. The ownership's pretty broad.
Nice. No, I like honestly, man, it might seem like the little things like that, but like the little questions I like to ask because just like you said, if someone brand new, is coming into NFTs and stuff like that, they they might just look at the ownership overlap and be like, oh, that's a whole bunch of shit. You know what I mean? What's going on compared to
Yeah.
something like you just said? You can look at the NFTs. All right, so they got this. They're the more I guess, and maybe not in tune with good projects, so to say. But I mean, if it's a whole bunch of random ass BS, it might be like, hold up, you know what I mean? Um,
Yeah,
so
exactly.
I
And
mean, yeah, go ahead.
actually, to thinking about what I would pay attention to if I was doing the space, we're going to be rolling out maybe tomorrow, maybe Friday, but I would say almost certainly by the end of this week. We're going to be rolling out dashboards that give visibility into wash trading. And so when a lot of
Nice.
projects launch, when they go from mint to secondary, there will be artificial buying and selling that will cause the price to do interesting things. And so you'll be able to go to Hello Moon to figure out, is this organic buying and selling or not? Um,
How do y'all? I guess how do y'all figure out if it is? if it is or isn't, unless of course you got some special algorithm, don't want to give your hints away or stuff like that. But like, how can y'all tell? Because what if these wash traders are listening and they're like, yo, hold on, big pimpin', hold on. Like, I guess how do you tell what is or isn't wash trading?
Yeah, so to your point, it's a pretty sophisticated algorithm. So we have, one of the many kind of brilliant people on our team is actually a PhD data scientist who joined us from Google. And before Hello Moon, she was helping Google uncover financial fraud by sifting through data at actually even greater scale than you can find on Solana. And so it's kind of actually almost one for one in terms of what she spent the last kind of portion of her career doing. So I think easy for her, maybe not easy if you don't have that background, but using Hello Moon, it's actually pretty simple to implement.
Nice. Gotta ask the question. You know what I mean? What if the wash trader comes? The big boys. You know what I mean? They're like, yo, Hello Moon. Listen, here's 55 mil. You know what I mean? Where y'all got the big team. Everyone's gonna be staying on point about yo, fuck you, get out of here. You know what I mean?
That's right.
So of course, I'm sure everyone will say yeah, but that as far as I know seems like it'd be really cool and a big thing because one, of course, big space, and two, unfortunately, I know some shit like that it has to be going on. Three, sure. I would love to look at that information and be like, oh damn, you know what I mean? So that's really cool on that one. With the stuff with the NFTs. I mean, you got, I guess, everything, and that's on the blockchain. Say if it's like a brand new, project. I guess how do those things come? Like, how do you get that information? Just because I don't know how that is. Is it like on a Magic Eden thing, or like from the exchange rate? How do y'all get those, or is it just Solana's?
I'd have to bring one of the engineers on to explain exactly how we do it, but it's effectively automated. So, we can see when something's minted and we can see kind of what it is, and then choose to put it on the site or not. Actually, one thing that's interesting, I think right now we've got something like 900, maybe 1,000 different collections on the website. We're actually going to be rolling out like a global search. And so then instead of kind of artificially limiting the number of collections that we have, we're just going to make it so that you can look at any collection. And so that'll be something like, I don't know, I think it's like 8,000 collections, something to that effect. Only like 3,500 or 4,000 of which, something to that effect, are actually kind of still actively traded.
Nice. With the people like the one we were speaking of, that the did all stuff for Google and stuff. Maybe not a hard question, but why are these qualified ass people working for Hello Moon? I mean, have y'all all maybe not known each other, but I guess how does that happen? How do y'all get something?
Yeah, like I mean, so a lot of the core team, or I shouldn't say core team, I should say a lot of the early people who joined the team, I've known for call it 10 years or longer in various forms. We aren't necessarily so and basically what happened when I launched the company was I knew, okay, well, this is the engineering team that I'm gonna put together, and so I reached out to the smartest, most accomplished person that I'd met or heard of, for each category that we were hiring for, and basically said, look, starting this company, here's what the problem we're trying to solve. What would you look for in a back-end candidate or a design candidate or data science candidate, and is there anybody you can refer me to? And actually, what ended up happening is the first 4 or 5 people that I had that conversation with ended up saying, well, I'm happy to introduce you to somebody, but would you consider giving me a chance? To which the answer was obviously yes. So in terms of recruiting people of the caliber that we have, I mean, we're solving a really compelling problem. It's an incredibly complicated network where things change constantly going forward and also looking backwards. So I think right now we're back to like something approaching the Genesis block. And I can tell you that there have been many different iterations of every component of Solana, which makes it, it's like it's a fluid kind of moving target.
Nice. With well, one, I mean, I guess props to you and everything you've done in general. You know what I mean, from the past to get you what you're doing now and everything else like that. So everyone always deserves a good prop. So keep your shit, keep doing it, big dog. With some of the stuff that are grayed out on the webpage of the Hello Moon, that you can talk about, unless you got updates and stuff that you can't. You know what I mean? Because I usually say don't get yourself fired, but it's probably hard to fire yourself on that one. What are the portfolios, the monitors, the news notes, friends? Is it gonna be like I might get booed off of this one. The Metaplex, the Meta, the Facebook, type of Solana with that, or what is y'all's goal, I guess, for the different icons?
Yeah, so one thing that we've seen is that when people use Hello Moon, frequently they'll use it as parts of groups. So maybe it'll be, circles of NFT collectors who talk together, things like that. And so with the friends section, we wanted to give them kind of a place to gather and a place to share, what they were looking at. And so that's still kind of in process. I would say that we'll get to that after we get to the wallet login. News is kind of self-explanatory. I mean, it's actually kind of an interesting concept. There are few really, I think, compelling startups around news on Solana that have launched that I'm sure will kind of grow to be big, interesting things. We'd love to feature them on our news page. But basically, the rationale was that, I mean, it's hard to find news on Solana, even though it's a massive growing market. And there's all kinds of news to report. So that's kind of how I think about that.
Nice. I guess before though, I'm assuming it's kind of the self-explanatory. You get that wallet on there to show you, I guess, your NFTs, what's in there, stuff like that. For the dummies like myself, with this whole DeFi stuff, is it the same overall essence of information just on, I guess, the different coins, stuff like that, or say you're a finance, person like yourself, you like in the numbers, what would people be looking at? Or for a better question, a new person like me, what are you looking at on this?
Yeah, I mean, so for example, if you go to the top token, so USDC, which is top left. Yeah. Click it. Yep.
I heard that. Ooh, fancy.
And if you look at it, so actually you know what's really interesting about USDC. So if you click on the Solana button in the top button, there, and then scroll down to the bottom of the page. Yeah, there you go. So if you look at the chart on the bottom left, total value moved on chain successfully. What you'll see is that actually on any given day, several $1 trillion worth of assets changes hands on Solana, which is pretty interesting. The primary asset actually is USDC. And so if you move, actually even more so than Sol itself, and if you move over to the chart in the middle, hover over that big, there you go. Basically what that says is that, one day in early February, somebody tried to transfer $16 quadrillion worth of USDC. Now, obviously, it didn't go through. There's not that much liquidity. Yeah, I mean, that's, I think, 200 years of global GDP. But, there's all kinds of super interesting things happening.
Might be a dumb question, and hopefully comments can eat me up for all I care. How would that even be possible? Is it just some person, who just... Is that even fucking possible? Is that like some random ass, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No,
you know what I mean? Or what?
Yeah. It's definitely not possible. There's not that much money in the entire world.
Like, what the fuck?
There won't be that much money in the entire world for like hundreds of years. So no, it's not possible. So we don't know what's going on. We thought about taking the chart down, but we decided to leave it up because it's so interesting. So this is not, if you look at, the chart to the left, that's like, thousands of, if not more participants, hundreds of thousands of participants driving it. But going back to that chart in the middle, that's actually just a single program ID. And we don't know what it's associated with. And so we figured we'd leave it up because it's weird and hard to explain. And so, I mean, our thought is that either it's a bot gone awry, which kind of at this point wouldn't make sense. I mean, it's now like several months of doing this. or maybe it's something malicious. So somebody's trying to test out the perimeter of mango markets and understand kind of um, vulnerabilities. I mean, maybe it's somebody spoofing. So maybe if you post like a huge transaction at a higher level, you can shave a basis point or two off. We don't know what it is, but we figured we'd leave it up because maybe somebody could tell
Start the
us.
conversation. Yeah, no, I like it.
Exactly.
Dumb question. Colors on that one. Any particular reason for colors on like the ones you chose, or is it just easier to see like on ones on top of each other, or is this like y'all's favorite color for each person? Overthinking don't.
Yeah. So I guess in terms of colors, I mean, we've got an amazing designer who was involved. We've pulled the color scheme from like I guess you could say traditional art. So there's like a hierarchy in terms of colors. So we went with that kind of traditional hierarchy, if you will. Yeah, I mean, we just wanted something that was easy to look at and had a lot of contrast, but wasn't hard on your eyes, in effect.
No, I like the little things like that. I'm sure honestly people really do appreciate it. Just because sometimes the neon shit is hard to look at and stuff like that. For projects in general, I guess that are maybe listening, maybe thinking about using the platform for their benefit and stuff like that. I guess what would you tell them listening to y'all? And I say benefit, I guess anyone can use it and look at the stats and everything. But you got someone making their own thing. They say, hey, why didn't you use Hello Moon? What do you tell them?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'd say is shoot us a DM on Twitter. And so when you look at HelloMoon.io, this actually is not our core product. So our core product is actually just the technology that we're building, which we're applying to a bunch of different protocols, wallet company, big exchanges, all kinds of different things. And so reach out and we can build something for you, or you can access our system yourself and build something for yourself. But yes, HelloMoon.io is just a start. And we hope to in the near term share some of the interesting things that we're doing on our back end, kind of with this front end, like wash trading, for example.
When I think you might have mentioned it. Do you know when roughly y'all might be coming out with that, or still kind of just in the works?
Yeah. Well, it's we're basically productionalizing it. So I think we're targeting end of day tomorrow. Realistically, maybe the day after. But no, it's we're looking at it right now. It's the results are actually super interesting. You also can look at it, use it historically, so you can say, okay, well, what percent of a project's historical volume has been wash trading. It's actually pretty sophisticated in terms of how we're doing it. We might actually tone it down a little bit, but
we don't want to hell not call people out. You need to call them out, but like bullshit, bullshit. You know what I mean?
There's nothing wrong with it. It's just you end up you send a signal to the market and you pay transaction fees to the marketplace. It's not the end of the world, but certainly I think is a useful way for people who are starting out to avoid getting tricked by bots, in effect.
No, 100%. The last couple of questions, because I just looked at the time and I already got you at 34 minutes, so my bad, bro. With people that are, well, never mind. I'll say people that are listening that might want to, apply for the job there or super like smart, which honestly sounds like y'all got a stacked team already. Are y'all looking for anyone in general? Like, say you got a genius, looking right now and it's like, yo, motherfucker, I know this stuff ASAP. Are you looking for anything in particular, or y'all set as a team?
No, we're hiring for every position. Literally every position. Yeah. Even things that are not related with our core technology, we're hiring for. So no, if you're interested, shoot me a note on Twitter for sure. I'll definitely get back to you. Or actually, we have a 25 soul investment thesis contest that ends on Thursday. And we're definitely going to be DMing the people who put together kind of the more involved theses about potentially bringing them onto our platform.
Is that already over with, or say randomly someone listens to this tomorrow or on the 24th, can they get in it, or are y'all just already closed?
I think it's ending like midday, something to the effect of midday on Thursday. So no, there's plenty of time.
Heard that. And you said 25 soul, right?
It's 25 soul.
Ain't nothing wrong with that, you know what I mean? So if y'all are listening, do it. With you kind of mentioned before, kind of in the beginning of it. What do you want Hello Moon to be known for? Not in like the next month, 2 months, because even though that probably is going to seem like a year. In the long call, like what is y'all's vision? What is y'all's I guess company statement? What is y'all's thesis?
Yeah, I mean, so we want to be a general utility layer for the entire Solana ecosystem. And so it's extraordinarily difficult to access, Solana blockchain data, let alone to kind of work with it at the scale that we are. And so we want to take that and open it up and let other people build whatever they want to build on top of us.
Nice. Random question again, because my head be going everywhere. It has nothing to do with Hello Moon on this. The whiteboard you got on there is the glass. Is that actually glass? Like does it show up
glass.
everything well? Okay, I've always seen like the whiteboard, the regular glass whiteboard. I fuck with you on that one. The hiccups that y'all have came along the way on making Hello Moon. And of course it might be different from NFT projects to other projects. But what hiccups, what problems have y'all I guess had along the way? How did you overcome them? And what were those ones that you were like you didn't know was going to be a problem?
Yeah, I mean, definitely the complexity of the technology that we're building has been, a persistent problem. And so it would be hard to overemphasize the complexity of the Solana blockchain. I mean, the deeper you get, the more kind of the more kind of arbitrary, it feels. I mean, at the end of the day, there's a good reason for everything. And so I would say kind of anticipating the complexity of various things has been something that we're constantly kind of trying to sharpen our sword on, if you will. And then otherwise, I mean, I guess just the normal, challenges of starting any project. So, getting the right people in the right seats, finding the right partners to work with, avoiding the wrong partners, which is maybe a conversation for another podcast. Those were, we had the same kind of challenges that anybody else would have.
Nice. And then I guess the advice you would give yourself the month ago, 2 months ago, what advice would that have been?
More faster, go harder. Don't ease up. So yeah, for sure. That's all in.
I guess kind of last question then in general, like the closing points, anything that we really haven't touched on that you and the team are honestly super excited about, or some alpha you can, I guess more alpha you can kind of give us, or any closing points?
Yeah, I mean, I guess what I'd say is that we're super excited about wash trading and kind of sharing that with the public for free. But we're working on two other things that are kind of actually of even larger magnitude. One of which actually I've never seen on any blockchain, and so we're super excited to share that with the community. Keeping it under wraps for now, but watch hellomoon.io over the next 2-3 weeks. We're going to be rolling out some bizarre and interesting stuff. Is I guess how I'd frame it. So
nice. No, I like that. I'm gonna be keeping an eye on them because it sounds like you're hype about it. You want people to know, but you can't tell people about it now, and you're like, bro, this shit's about to be on point. So I'm hyped for that one. On that one, yeah, man. I guess we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Again, I want to say thank you for coming on, taking some time out of your evening, and just sharing a little about Hello Moon and yourself. So, man, I appreciate that, boss.
No, of course, and thanks for having me. So yeah, shout out to the ThugBirdz community. I mean, it's probably our favorite NFT project on Solana. So happy to be involved in any way.
Nice. You had to say ThugBirdz because I always forget somehow, some way. I'm always the person that's doing it. I got to put you on the spot, bro. Can I get a caw from you?
Caw, right?
Hey, I mean, there you go. That's all we asked for. Stick around for a quick second, big dog. Kind of like I did in the start. I'm gonna go ahead and mute it up, but real talk, man, I appreciate it. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, let's get it! Once again, episode 74 with Hello Moon. If you're not already, go ahead and follow him at hello _ moon _ _ hit that follow on ThugBirdz, ThugBird Pod, and ThugDow. Till next time, y'all, stay fresh, stay clean, stay positive. Hey, you know what time it is.